So today is the unofficial start to the E3 press conferences, and it's all starting with Stadia, or Google's virtual console. And today they released the information that they kind of withheld at the initial reveal, and there really was the information that a lot of people were wondering, and what those were pretty much the three main things they talked about today, and that was the pricing, the internet speed requirements, and the games they were going to have on launch. And today they answered pretty much all of those, and I want to talk about those and a little bit other things, but for the most part we're going to be talking about those three major things. And since I just want to jump into them right away, we're just going to do that. So first thing I want to talk about is the smaller things. Don't forget that, we're actually jumping into the big things. So right away I want to talk about the number one thing that concerned me more than anything else with the announcement of Stadia, and this is something I wasn't sure I was even going to access because I didn't know what the internet speed requirements were going to be. I was thinking it's going to be like 70 megabytes plus for all of this, but today we got some really good news, because as you guys can see on screen, these are the requirements for everything you're going to need for Stadia. So for the best, and this is 4K HDR 60 frames a second with 5.1 surround sound, you're going to only need 35 megabytes per second. That's it. Honestly, again, I was expecting like 70 plus megabytes per second or something like that, but this is just great news to see that all you need for 4K HDR 60 frames a second is going to be 35 megabytes per second. But of course, that's not all there is. Of course, if you don't have that speed, you also have some other options. And as you guys can see, at 20 megabytes per second, you could get 1080p HDR 60 frames a second with 5.1 surround sound. Again, great news. If you don't have 35 megabytes per second, at least you could still be getting 1080p, which again is more great news. But even if you don't have that, if you don't have 20 megabytes per second, you could get the bare minimum for Stadia to run it at all, and this is going to be 10 megabytes per second, and what you're going to get is 720p with 60 frames per second and stereo surround sound. So again, this isn't as great as the other two. Obviously 720p isn't amazing, but it is at least something that you could actually use if you don't have that internet in your area or something like that, or you just can't get it at this current point in time. So it is at least great news if you can at least have 10 megabytes per second, that you're at least able to use Stadia in one way. And that's just great news for me, at least personally. At least I was expecting speeds higher than this, so I see this as great news. But of course, the next thing I want to talk about, another huge thing that I was wondering, was the pricing. And again, more good news, because it seems like for the base version of Stadia, and what they're calling Stadia Base, is going to be completely free. And I just want to make this clear because a lot of people are getting this confused, but Stadia is not Netflix for games, guys. It is a virtual console, so you're not going to be paying monthly and get all the games you want for free, pretty much. Just play a monthly thing and get access to all the games. That's just not what this is. It's just a virtual console. So what they're saying is that you're going to have access to this virtual console at the base version of it for completely for free. And this is just, again, great news. But of course, you're still going to have to pay $60 for your games, buy your season passes, your DLCs. Well, actually, who even has a season pass anymore? Even Call of Duty got rid of that. So I don't know, but regardless, you're still going to have to pay for the games, but you're going to get your console for free. That's pretty much what it is, a virtual console for completely for free, which is just, again, great news. But there are some rumors that seem very true about this Stadia base, and what the rumors are is that you're not going to be able to stream your games at anything greater than 1080p, which is still great because, I mean, you're getting a virtual console completely for free, and you're going to be able to stream those games at 1080p. But to access anything greater, you're going to have to upgrade to Stadia Pro. And there's a couple benefits to Stadia Pro. I want to go over these also. So the cost of Stadia Pro is going to be $10 a month. And with this, you're going to get pretty much some quote-unquote free games from Stadia. So this is pretty much similar to how you see PSN and Xbox Live, which how they give you every single month, you'll get a couple free games here and there. So I'm thinking it's going to be similar to that, and that's pretty much how it's going to work, but I could be mistaken. But one thing I don't think it's going to be like, at least like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live, is that I don't think you need to have Stadia Pro to play online. At least they didn't say that. So let's cross our fingers and hope that with Stadia Base, you'll be able to play online and you won't need Stadia Pro. But again, that's yet to be said. We don't know how exactly online play is going to work and multiplayer play is going to work, so we're going to have to wait and see for that. But that's about it for all the different ways you can get your hands on Stadia. But there is something that they did, and personally something that I think is really, really cool. But they're actually selling a special edition of a virtual console. It's weird. Trust me, it's weird, but it'll make sense when I explain it. So they're releasing something called the Stadia Founders Edition, and this is going to cost you $130. And what this will actually give you when you actually buy this $130 edition of a virtual console is you'll get the Chromecast Ultra, which normally costs $70, and the Stadia controller, which again costs $70, 3 months of Stadia Pro for you and a friend, so you get 3 months for yourself and you give 3 months to someone else, and finally it'll give you a complete version of Destiny 2. And what they mean by complete version of Destiny 2, you're going to get Destiny 2 the game and all the expansion packs that came out and the ones that are going to come out. So again, a lot of good news. And honestly, if you are really excited for Stadia and you really think it's going to be great, then I don't think there's a world that you don't pre-order this in, because $130 for a Chromecast that costs $70, a Stadia controller that costs $70, 3 months of Stadia Pro for you and a friend, which together costs $60, and a complete version of Destiny 2, which costs over $100. All of that for $130 is a complete steal. So again, this is assuming you trust Stadia and you are really looking forward to what they have to offer. Then I don't think there's a reason not to pre-order this. So because it's such a good deal as long as you believe in Stadia. But of course, I want to get into the final piece of major information, and these are the games that are actually coming on Stadia at launch. And the interesting thing about these games, some of these games are already out and some of them are yet to come out. So we're not sure exactly how it's going to work, but I mean, I'm assuming that they're going to release Stadia and then these games are going to come for them later on. I mean, it's honestly not that complicated. I don't know why I made it sound like that, but regardless, I'm just going to go through and name them all because there's a pretty good amount, and I'm not going to have a chance to comment on any of them just because how many there are. So I'll quickly go through all of them. Boulder Gate 3, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Mortal Kombat 11, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Guilt, Destiny 2, Get Packed, The Division 2, Doom Eternal, The Crew 2, Grid, FM, Power Rangers, Farming Simulator 19, Elder Scrolls Online, Darksider Genesis, Trails Rising, Wolfenstein Youngblood, Just Dance, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Thumper, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Final Fantasy 15, Rage 2, Samurai Showdown, and Metro Exodus. So those are all the games that have been confirmed. I imagine there might be more, but even if this is everything that's coming with it, it is a pretty solid amount of games to come with, and that is something that I see as a plus. Of course, I'm hoping there's more just because, you know, half of these games I'm not interested in, but regardless, you know, we're going to have to wait and see for that. Maybe we'll hear more at E3, all the other, you know, Square Enix and all their different things. It seems like the main studio that's working with them more than anything, or I guess publisher I should say, is Ubisoft. They seem like all their games are coming out on Stadia, so that's something to expect because it looks like all of their games. So also what I'm trying to say is that you can expect to see Watch Dogs 3, which they kind of teased and was leaked a couple days ago. You probably could also expect to see that on Stadia also. So that's again some pretty good information. But regardless, that's it for the three major things. Two things I want to quickly mention at the end. No, we did not get a release date. We still don't have a release date for this. All we know is it's coming later this year. And the other thing I want to mention, this is the only concerning thing out of all of this, is that I pretty much saw every major publisher inside this. We saw 2K, we saw Ubisoft, EA, and just pretty much all of the big ones except for one, and that was Activision. We did not see Activision. We did not see any of its developers or any of its games. And this is worrisome for Call of Duty players because, I mean, Call of Duty Modern Warfare is looking kind of epic. So, you know, is it going to be available on Stadia? I don't know, but we're going to have to wait and see. Hopefully they didn't sign some awful deal with Sony, and that's the reason it's not going to be on Stadia, because for Call of Duty missing out on Stadia would be a huge yikes. But regardless, that's about it for everything I really have to say. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about all of this. Tell me what you guys think. Are you excited for this? Are you a little cautious? Just tell me all your thoughts down in the comments. But anyways, that's about it for me. If you guys did enjoy the video, go ahead, do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and especially bell. But I'm going to go, and I'll catch you guys next stream video or whatever it may be. But laters, guys.